they have, or repair something that might have been damaged by an accident or illness. But some people turn to plastic surgery thinking it's going to solve all their problems. Some turn to plastic surgery at an age when their bodies haven't even finished developing yet. This puts cosmetic surgeons in a position where they not only have to do a physical analysis of their patients, they really end up conducting an emotional and psychological analysis. We're going to talk about that this morning. We'll also talk about some of the latest procedures available for those who are good candidates for some kind of cosmetic procedure. We're also going to open up our phone lines so you can ask any questions you might have of Dr. Gazelle Anson. We'll also find out about an innovative procedure in detecting and treating epilepsy. A workshop is coming up a little bit later this week at Sunrise Hospital. We're going to tell you all about that. And a new restaurant is open here in the Valley that's run by a man who you might refer to as a Renaissance man. We'll explain a little bit later on in the program. Now back to our top story this morning. Who makes a good candidate for plastic surgery? Who does not? And for those who are good candidates, what are some of the newest options in cosmetic procedures? Joining me this morning is a good friend of mine, Dr. Gazelle Anson. She will talk to us about all of that. She also has some good first-hand information on how to avoid being taken advantage of when you're in the market for some cosmetic surgery. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. Let's talk first of all about the patient's perspective. And one of the reasons that Dr. Anson is here is a few years ago, another plastic surgeon who will remain anonymous told me I would benefit from an early facelift. I went to Dr. Anson for a second opinion and she said absolutely not. Won me over immediately because that was money left on the table for you. And to me, that takes a lot of ethics and that takes, you know, strength of character to look at someone who's asking you to do something and to say no. How do you make those decisions?
Well, a couple of things. When I'm first seeing a patient in consultation, there are several things that are important to me to evaluate. Now, the patient is interviewing me as their potential plastic surgeon, but I'm also interviewing them, because once you accept a patient, accept someone as your patient, it becomes a very intimate relationship. So first, are their goals realistic? Are their expectations realistic? Can I accomplish it technically? And then, is it a reasonable period in their life to do it? So those are the things that are really important. I'm certainly a believer in doing surgery young. So it's not that age is so important in terms of not doing a facelift. Right. It was that you as an individual, I felt, could wait.
So you have to, when you're just talking, we're going to talk about teens and plastic surgery in just a moment, but when you talk to someone, you have to sort of analyze not only whether it has merit physically, but also whether or not this is something that they're looking for some other kind of cure in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. And that's something that I deal with every single day. Because you can be a good candidate physically and have a reasonable requests, but if it's not a good time, by that I mean plastic surgery makes you feel better and it can improve your confidence level, but it will not change your life. It is surgery, it is not magic. So if someone's depressed, if someone's feeling miserable before surgery, they're going to feel miserable after surgery. So that's not a cure.
Okay.
And also, if they're doing it for the right reasons, are they doing it for themselves or are they doing it for someone else? And that's always a bad idea.
Let's talk about the increase. I was on the internet doing some research for this, and it seems as though there are more and more teenagers going in and looking for plastic surgery. First of all, since you deal with a lot of this, what do you think is prompting that?
Well, I think the media and these physical expectations of what are their role models, and it's worrisome. I'm very uncomfortable with that trend with teenagers because I don't think it's right.
I have also read that there will be 14, 15-year-olds who come in with their mothers with them saying, no, it's okay, do it, you know, it's okay. Explain why at that age it probably isn't a good idea, not only physically but emotionally.
Well, emotionally it's absurd. No one at age 15, 16 can realistically make that decision for themselves. They're just not able to. There are too many other influences, first. Second, they're not finished developing, so physically it's a bad idea. You don't know how that surgery is going to influence their future growth. And you are not physically grown, at least in terms of breasts or fat, at age 16. 18
is the legal age. Basically, if someone comes in and they're 18 years old and they say, I want to do this, then legally you can do it.
Yes.
But you still weigh that, don't you?
Absolutely. If someone's 40 years old, I still weigh it. So it doesn't matter to me. I still have to feel comfortable doing the surgery with that patient. So if I have to feel that they understand, that they can comply with postoperative course, that their expectations are realistic. So those are all really important things. And I will say no.
I know you will. My other question pertains to, I would imagine sometimes it might be kind of difficult to deal with the parents in this, in a case like this?
Yeah.
You're having to deal almost with two people in one,
absolutely.
as opposed to a fully grown adult coming in and asking you to do something.
I counsel people to the best that I'm able to, and why I think that's a bad idea, why I think it's wrong to consider liposuction at age 16, why I think it's wrong to consider an augmentation at that age. I hope to educate them so that they change their minds and maybe reconsider it a few years from now. And if I can't do that, of course they'll go elsewhere, and that's their prerogative.
Without giving us a crash course in medicine, can you explain? I also read liposuction. That's something else I didn't even think about until I was reading the internet. Liposuction is not advisable for young kids who have not quit. Why is that?
Because the body's changed so much. The fat levels, the deep and superficial fat changes so much between age 16 when they're not developed to when you're 25. Think of yourself. Everybody knows that when you the difference that your own body went through from a teenager to young adulthood, you know, in their 20s, things change. And if you interfere with that, you can have long-term consequences. It's foolish.
It could almost end up looking worse, couldn't
It's
it?
possible. It's possible, because if you're going to lose weight, that influences the ultimate contour. So it is a bad idea,
Now,
in my opinion.
Now there are some cosmetic surgical procedures that are okay for kids, like perhaps I don't know what it's called. Getting your ears
Otoplasty. Yeah.
Now, why is that okay? And
Because of growth. Well, for a couple of reasons. One is the ears and nose tend to grow to an adult level, a fully mature level at a younger age. So that's number one. Number two, the consequences of the deformity psychologically is very difficult in a child. So if someone has very prominent ears, we can avoid a lot of grief psychologically by doing it at an early age, and that's a very reasonable thing to do. So it's not that surgery in general is bad for young people. You have to choose carefully what's appropriate and what's not. I think a rhinoplasty is appropriate at age 16 or 17, depending on their physical development. That is acceptable. So it really depends on the procedure.
And the long-term effects as far as their self-esteem
Absolutely,
can
very
be
important. Very
outbalances.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We are going to talk more with Dr. Giselle Anson when we come back. We're also going to talk about the positive side of plastic surgery and the fact that if you are a good candidate, there's a lot of new stuff out there that actually you can get done that doesn't even involve a scalpel. We're going to open up our phone lines as well if you're considering a procedure, or maybe if you're a parent who's battling it out with your child over whether or not a particular procedure is appropriate. This is a great opportunity for you to get some first-hand advice. Our phone number is right there on the screen. It's 735-DAY-1, 735-3291. We'll be right back.